Shalom, Kol Halal, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakaha Kodash. Double honors into the apostles, double honors into the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than never. The would-be judges, the 144,000, and the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen nations, that have the appearance of the heathen nations. This is not a black thing, a color thing, but an Israelite bloodline thing. And to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you another lesson in truth. And yes, the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, all right, primarily make up the body of the true children of the nation of Israel that's talked about in the Bible. And of course, the scattered elect that are scattered among all people. All right, so that's who this message is to. And, I was watching, I woke up to watching a video of the elder Mawatazak out of, LA, the head of LA. And then I just started, I clicked on something else, and this was among the first videos after I watched that video this morning, and it just kind of pissed me off, and it fell right into the scheme of things, or right into the script of what I was aiming to do as far as trying to do an edifying video on a particular subject matter. And now I'll just read Obadiah. This is Obadiah 1:2. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised, and the pride of thine heart have deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? So Esau, Edom were the original and are the only cave dwellers. That's what the word Caucasian means. And contrary to the false propaganda belief which has been pushed, is not the Caucasus Mountains that they came from originally. They came from Petra, from Mount Seir, which is in Jordan, south of the land of Jordan, south of Israel. All right, they went into the Caucasus Mountains after the fall of Rome, when so-called white people got driven out of power, which is the main reason why they were so angry when they came against Jacob, because of that 1,000-year period when melanated people, mainly those of the Israelite heritage, ruled over what they now call Eurasia, all right, which was just simply Asia going back to that time. But, they brought in that name Europe and created this false narrative that that's where they were from, and all, that's all pseudoscience and false history. All right. And during this transatlantic slave trade from the fall of Portugal and Spain, when they came after started enslaving the Northern Kingdom, and of course the people of Portugal and Spain, a portion of them went into captivity. So the Israelite captivity started, Jeremiah 50 and 33, Northern and Southern Kingdom, right around the time that Christopher Columbus sailed. Right, the transatlantic slave trade literally started 100 years before they say, all right, with both Northern and Southern Kingdom. All right, so they've lied about everything, and they think that they're special, and they're not. They literally are the least of the flock, and their actions, they are greatly despised around the world, and the people, and people don't always voice it because these people control so much wealth, so much power, so, controlling the media and the banking systems and things of that nature. And people don't want to speak up because they don't want to be blacklisted and made poor because they're way up, because you spoke against them. You spoke some truth. You speak truth, typically you're speaking against the powers that be. And the powers that be in America, as you're going to see, is basically the Israeli lobbies, all right? And I'm going to show you some receipts to prove that. I'm not just saying that. You know, this isn't an anti any goddamn thing. All right, no anti-semantics here, just simple truth. But I'm gonna play a short clip of this video because this is the mindset that they have, because they don't like to look at anything that they do. What they put the camera on is the reaction to their wickedness, the action to their unfairness, the action to their murder, the action to their rape, their robbery, the retaliation against them by people that they've wronged. They put the camera on that part and ignore what they've done to excite, to bring on these reactions as if they are innocent.
This girl showed disgusting behavior to the man who tried to sit next to her, and you have to see how he got his revenge. The man's ticket was for the seat right next to the girl, but she didn't let him pass. The man was confused and showed her his ticket, but the girl's behavior had a different reason. She said this was first class and someone like him shouldn't be sitting there.
Because people like you belong in the back, not in the front in first class.
So when I first saw this, I thought it was just one of them little acting skits, and then I realized as I continued to watch, this was really happening, and someone was really recording. All right, and this is the mindset that the small hats, that the imposter converts who claim my heritage, this is the mindset that they have. This is what they teach their children.
The man again showed her his first class ticket and said he was supposed to sit there, but this time the girl acted even more disgustingly by opening a bag of snacks and spilling them on his seat. The passenger recording the scene got angry and told the girl what she was doing was wrong, then called the flight attendant. When the flight attendant saw the spilled snacks, she got angry at the girl and warned her that if she continued, she would be kicked off the plane. However, the girl still didn't listen and kept saying only Americans should sit there. The flight attendant tried to kick the girl out of the plane, but the man recording the video had enough and gave up his seat to the man who was wronged and said he would sit in the back. When the girl saw everyone turning against her, she said she wouldn't fly with people who don't respect an American like her and left the plane. What would you do if it were you? This girl showed...
So, well, there you have it, man. You saw it for yourself. Now let's get on with the lesson. All right? Anna Kasparian. I always get her mixed up with that McAdoo chick. I forget what her name is. McAdoo. They just look alike to me. Or maybe she got married and now her last name is Kasparian, because I can swear that's that something McAdoo chick. But what she says is very powerful. And I don't think that Piers Morgan was expecting her to say what she said. And this chick is very vocal against the powers that be. She's very vocal against the crimes that are committed daily by the land of Israel, or by the dictator in Israel, that accuses everyone else of being such. The wanted war criminal, which is the prime minister of Israel. I think he's wanted in 126 countries as a war criminal or something to that effect. The World Court has deemed him as such. All right, and they don't follow, the laws. Esau creates these laws, Esau, Edom, and then they don't follow their own laws. All right, those laws are for you, not for them. All right, they got this dole operating, but they have, and people are all up in arms about them disregarding the Constitution and getting around the law. But I'm like, there are things in place that they enforce every day that in America for decades now that are unconstitutional, and no one said a word because they're all profiting from it. Title 40 child support being one. Many of the other things that they're doing as far, because I haven't heard the new human resources person, which is what's his name, the new Kennedy that's in there. You haven't said anything about that, and that is completely and totally unconstitutional. And a lot of money goes to the states for enforcing this fraud, and that's just one of many things. Just to give you an example, all right? That's an easy one, all right? But let's hear. Matter of fact, before I read that, Let me grab a scripture before I play it. All right. One is so fitting to the time that we're in, but this is Isaiah 29:5. Woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from Yahweh, and their works are in the dark. And they say, who seeth us, and who knoweth us? Surely your turn of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say unto him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he have no understanding? All right, so these people, they frame mischief by law. I'll probably get that scripture. And they try to hide their works, but we're living in the information age, and the scripture clearly says that they would be found out. The shameful spewing has to fall upon their glory. So, and a Casparian people.
Principle of deporting students for their political allegiances or views. Where do you sit on that?
Well, our government will certainly try to do that as long as the government of Israel demands it. And our government, completely controlled by the Israeli government, they're going to do the Israeli government's bidding. That's what this is really about. Legal residents, permanent residents who have green cards.
How many, every American leader is seen over there with the yarmulke on, dry humping the wall, what's left of Fort Antonia. That's not Solomon's temple. There's not a stone left. Thus said the scriptures. There wasn't a stone left standing from the temple. And a matter of fact, I learned that fact from Brother Nathaniel, the Christian, Russian Orthodox Christian convert who grew up Jewish. All right. He was, and that was more than 10 years ago, when because they ran him off of YouTube, all right. But he was the one that gave that secret up. I was watching a video, and he mentioned, and then I did the research and the study, and the Wailing Wall is what's left of Fort Antonia. There is no scripture in the Bible where you write little notes and stick it in a wall and hump a wall and pray to a wall. That is idolatry. These people are frauds. Okay? They are frauds. Let me try to see if I can find that scripture real quick before I let her finish, because he said, Matthew 24:2. And Yahushua said unto them, see ye not all these things? And he's talking about all the temples and all the structures that were in Jerusalem at the time. Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. So it was all thrown down. So these people are complete and total frauds. American leaders all go over there, put on their yarmulke, and swear allegiance to the small hats. And they go over there and they dry hump the Fort Antonia wall, all right, which they call the Wailing Wall, which is not scriptural. It is not biblical, all right? That's some idolatry. Maybe it's Talmudian. Like I said, I haven't even gone into that book yet. I have so many books that I have to go into, but I actually have a Babylonian Talmud, and I'm working my way to it.
Will be deported simply for exercising their freedom of speech and criticizing how the Israeli government is prosecuting this war in Gaza, slaughtering tens of thousands of innocent women, children, elderly people, civilians. They're going to continue the slaughter. They don't want any. And
so the way that, because I just saw a video before I turned this one on, that it talked about in the UK, should they expel Hamas terrorist supporters from the UK? And that's the way they label it. So, like I watched another video yesterday where they snatched up some pretty little Ishmaelite chick who was a student. But ICE came after her, and she didn't know what was going on. She thought she was getting kidnapped. Poor little woman was panicking, simply because she went to a rally to stop the genocide and the murder. So these people commit genocide and murder, and the victim villains. That's what they are. They are the victim villains. They're really the villains playing the victim. All right? Okay, and there's even been out, and then you've even had I've heard even rabbis say, one Orthodox rabbi say that October 7th was set up by them. All right, and that won't be the first time in history. Look, America and its constituents, from its beginning, have sacrificed people's lives and sacrificed people so that they can push forward to an agenda. All right, and it's the same. It's the same suspicion that surrounds so many events. All right, October 7th is not alone, and one of the biggest ones ever. Two of the biggest ones ever is the Titanic and 9/11, because they both had agendas behind them to get things going. That had those events not happened, they wouldn't have been able to get these things going. They needed a mass death event in order to scare the people into believing that they were in danger, so they could push forth an agenda. And now if you speak against that agenda, you're labeled, well, she just told you, these people are labeled terrorists simply for speaking out against watching their family members die. All right, and they weren't being anti-American. They were just speaking against watching their family members and their people die. It's as simple as that. And the average Edomite, they don't see that part. They refuse to see that part. How dare you speak against our rape, robbery, and murder? How dare you stand up for yourself? How dare you not agree with me, even though I know that I'm wrong?
Backlash from anyone in the United States about it, including American citizens, including permanent residents. And remember, Miriam Adelson and the Adelson family overall gave Donald Trump hundreds of millions of dollars to not do what's right for the United States, but to do what's right for Israel. Our government is completely controlled by the Israeli government.
This principle of deporting students for their political allegiances or views, where do you sit on that?
Well, I mean,
mind you, these students have done nothing. They didn't go out and violently attack anyone. They just stood up for their people, which is, I can't say that if I were in their shoes that I wouldn't have done the same thing. Like, hey man, you killing my people. You're killing my I've lost brothers, sisters, cousins, friends. That's where I'm from. And you're literally, destroying defenseless people, all in the name of trying to get at Hamas. And then I have to ask the honest question: Is Hamas reacting to decades of murder and oppression, of rape and being imprisoned for fraudulently and wrongly starved out and everything else? Well, if you do that to anyone, how can you criminalize them for retaliating against such cruel, unlawful behavior? I mean, just in all honesty, these people have no humanity, man. They don't.
Our government will certainly try to do that as long as the government of Israel demands it. And our government, completely controlled by the Israeli government, and they're going to do the Israeli government's bidding. That's what this is really about. Legal residents, permanent residents who have green cards will be deported simply for exercising their freedom of speech and criticizing how the Israeli government is prosecuting this war in Gaza.
And you got Edomites that support that shit, because they feel they have this entitled mentality. They feel entitled, to be over you and to have what's yours. All right. This is how they feel. All right. This is Micah. Let's go to the book of Micah. Two and 2. Actually, I started 1. Read 1 through 3. All right, because they put all these statutes and codes, often that completely disregard the law of the land or violate the supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution. All right, and Because I agree, it's funny because the death of President, as you see Kennedy on the screen there, is a big talking point. Ben Shapiro said something about it the other day, and how, and he noticed it on the calendar. It was 2025. Why does that matter? Well, what if you said the same thing about the Holocaust, right? But yet they use that. You speak against that, you're labeled the worst person. You get completely blackballed. And some people are going to be offended at me just saying that. I didn't say anything offensive. I just made a point, right? I just simply made a point, right? It's not a slander or a slur or racial anything, all right? You just can't disregard other people's suffering and other events just to uplift your own. And then when those other things are brought up and their importance, you disregard them. All right. But this is Micah 2:1, and it reads, "Woe to them that devise iniquity and work an evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage." Now, though the Ishmaelites that are in Palestine aren't the Ishmaelites, Salakia, are not the actual Palestinians. The real Palestinians, Philistines, were what you call Africans today. Though they were sons of Ham, and Esau, the so-called self-proclaimed, self-professed white man, has confused everyone, because in his Hollywood movies and depictions, they always showing you Goliath and his people as being Caucasian for the most part. Right? As of recently, they showed them as being Arab, but that is a lie. They're sons of Canaan. Canaan is a son of Ham. All right, and I'll show you the receipt on that in a moment. All right, and matter of fact, let's get it. Let's get that receipt. So I had that one fast on deck. And here it is. All right. And this is from the Zondervan Dictionary's Compact Dictionary Bible. And it reads, "Ham, the youngest son of Noah, the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, the Ethiopians, the Libyans, and the Canaanites." Those Hamites, those Africans, okay? Which are a different dark race from the tribe of Judah and the rest of the Israelites, because in the Zondervan's Dictionary Bible, it says not the Negroid, multiple races. Well, what's the Negroid races, plural? The 12 tribes. All right? That's what it says in the Young's Dictionary Bible. Negroid is in plural, races. So it's telling you that there's a difference between the dark complexion Hamites and the shiny dark complexion of the Israelites. They're different people, different facial features, different skull structures, everything. Right? Now, mind you, over the centuries, a lot of Jakes that are still in Africa, mainly West Africa, has intermixed and mingled with those Hamites. But nevertheless, in most cases, you can clearly see the difference between Candace Owen and an African. You can clearly see that they look different. They're not the same. Right? I'm no big fan of Candace Owens, but she's much prettier than the average African woman. All right? A true Hamite. Because there's a lot of mixture going on in the land of Ham. Because those Ethiopian women, those northeastern Western African women, there's a lot of Ishmaelite blood and intermixtures and stuff, and they're really attractive. But but most of those Hamite women, they really aren't that attractive. They got some big old butts, if you into that, but they're not the prettiest women. That's just my opinion. To each his own. Like one brother used to say, brothers got different tastes. But nevertheless, let's go back to that scripture. Let me read it again. It's back in Micah. I'm gonna just read 2 and 2. Actually 3:2. And it says, "And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away, so that they oppress a man, even a man in his heritage." So these are heritage stealers as well as land stealers. "Therefore thus saith Yahweh, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go haughtily, for the time is evil. So Esau, Edom is not going to remove their neck from this evil that's going to come, that's coming upon them, even though they appear to still have all the cards and the power. All right, they're not going to get away with what they've been doing. So I'm going to play, let's adjust this damn commercial. Let me skip.
You connect a lot of dots between like Israel and media, right? But do you think that it's just capitalism? Like, don't you think a lot of times it's just business, and that's how business works, is that they're, like it's one of the
titles at the bottom of the screen, don't ask. It always is in my videos. Just look.
Side effects of capitalism.
If that were the case, so the reason why this is different is because Israel is actually the exception. They are the only country that's allowed to lobby Americans. Like everyone else has to register as a foreign agent under FARA.
Like with APAC or whatever?
Yeah, so APAC.
So just so you know, that's that's another thing that Kennedy was doing. He was pushing Israel, APAC, and all these other to register as a foreign entity. There should be no APAC in America. There should be no ADL. They shouldn't have all this influence. All right. That's why at the top of almost every organization that has anything to do with the rule of law, they're there. They're the CEOs. They're the top people there. Every fucking one of them. Damn near all the Title 4Ds, as long as I've been fighting them and looking up things, it's usually a woman, and she's usually of that descent. All right. And many of the other organizations. I mean, even in the CIA, the FBI, the law enforcement, their names are at the top. All right. And they're lobby groups. So to say that they don't control America, you're just fucking stupid. And you're looking the other way.
The backstory, by the way, before JFK got shot, he was fighting AIPAC. They were previously called, I'm blanking on this, you can look it up. And he was literally saying you have to register under the Foreign Act.
Is that true? Let's look
1,000% true, and you should look it up. We should fact check that live. He was fighting with what is today known as...
Wait, I'm pausing it so that you can see it. It's fact checked live. It's fact checked live. Continue.
As APAC, was renamed AZCPA. I don't know what that stood for.
In 1959, AZCPA was renamed APAC, and American Israel Public Affairs Committee, reflecting a broader membership and mission.
Yeah, so JFK told them that they had to register under FARA. And so American Zionist Council, that's exactly what it was called.
Okay, American Zionist Council was a pro-Israel lobby in the United States, founded in 1949. It represents...
Ball screenshot, once again, it was fact-checked live.
9 nationwide Zionist organizations in matters related
See at the bottom there, in 1962, President, look at the last paragraph, in 1962, yeah.
President John F. Kennedy and his brother Bobby as a U.S.
Didn't Bobby get put to death too? Pause. Screenshot. It was fact-checked live.
Attorney General forced the AZC to register as a foreign agent. In doing so, they were barred from making monetary contributions to U.S. officials. Who was barred? AZC?
Yeah, so APAC, for lack of a better term, they were called AZC back then, but continued to send out newsletters and hold events with a nonprofit tax exemption. Mm-hmm. And then what happened was he was shot. So he literally, they were writing him letters. You can find this. This is all this is available information. And he was like, you need to register, you need to register, you need to register. And then we told you to register. Why are you not registering? This makes no sense. And then AIPAC got lucky because he got shot.
They got lucky because he got shot. You go look at the heads of the FBI, the CIA, and all those alphabet organizations and see whose names are there. Let's get some scriptures. This is Sirach, and I highly suggest that you just watch this whole video in its entirety. All right, because there's a lot of information there, and I personally think that they're gonna do something to Candace. All right, something's gonna happen. Well, first of all, she's defiled, and her body's defiled by the seed of an Edomite. So so she's done. She has no, and So one way, either way or another, she's not going to be covered by the protection of Yahweh Shai when that time comes. But this is Sirach 10:8, and it reads, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. And, the small hats, the converts, the descendants of the Herodians are very good at transferring wealth from fallen places to themselves. All right. This is Psalms 94 and 22 or 20, yeah. And it reads, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law? So they frame mischief and get around the law. This is what they do. I cannot help but give you the example of Title 4D child support. It is completely and unlawfully. It is of a foreign treaty. That being the number one thing. It is of a foreign treaty. It's not even American. It's out of The Hague. And it completely violates the law of the land, because the law of the land states that it is illegal to place an American citizen under a foreign treaty. That's how they get around and say and try to get around. When you try to fight it, they try to say that the judges don't have jurisdiction over it. How the fuck is something that is not American have jurisdiction over American citizens? You can enforce it, but the American judges can't rule that it's a foreign. Get the fuck out of here. These people are cruel. They're crooked. They're crooked and they're devious. All right, but this is back in Psalms 94 and 21. They gather themselves together against the souls of the righteous and condemn the innocent blood. All right. Let's go to Deuteronomy 33:29. It says, happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people saved by Yahweh, the shield of thy help, who is the sword of thy excellency, and thy enemies shall be found liars unto thee, and thou shalt tread upon their high places. All right. And that's exactly what's happening. And this is a form of seeing them fall. The fact that we even know these things and discussing these things is evidence that their time is nearly up. Ecclesiastes 25 and 7. It reads, there be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue, a man that have the joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. And we're seeing the fall and exposure of Amalek and Edom in general. They're falling, they're exposed. So they're going to come hard and demonize to protect their lives. All right. But the Lord is going to redeem, his children. This is Psalms 94, 22-23. We'll end it here. But Yahweh is my defense, and my power is the rock of my refuge. He shall bring them to their own iniquity and cut them off in their own wickedness. Yeah, Yahweh, our power, shall cut them off. Call Lord Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakahakwadash Kwam Yasharala Abad Babal.